So that kind of sums up the live demo piece. I think what we should do is run to a Q&A session. If you guys have any questions, is there any specific questions that you guys have about this particular process? And then we'll talk about Intronus in a second if you don't have any questions about this, about the online backups and restores. Ed, as far as connecting this with Kaseya, right now it's not connected with Kaseya. I think there may be a time where the two of them may play nice together, but right now Kaseya and Intronus are separate entities. And to answer the impending question of will this integrate with ConnectWise or Autotask, they do have ways to integrate this with both. Also, the email alerts that Intronus sends out are earmarked with a particular machine. So if you set up an email connector, like say in ConnectWise, or we know some people that could potentially help you set that up with Autotask as well, then you could get them to create tickets for failed backups on a particular customer. It is possible to do that. Let's see here. So here's a great question. How do we answer clients that want to compare this service to, say, Carbonite, and someone else had asked how this stands out compared to competitors? I think Intronus, there are a couple key things to remember when you're talking about Intronus backup. Number one is that Intronus puts a lot of emphasis on the stability of their agent. The Intronus agent works. When backups run, they run. If there's problems, Intronus has, we have technical staff to help you. Intronus has technical staff to help you. There is very little reason that an Intronus backup will fail that can't be fixed quickly and efficiently. Intronus also is more of a managed services backup product. If a backup fails in Mozy, you will never know. If a backup fails in Carbonite, you will not know unless you're actively looking for it. Intronus keeps you involved in the process through email notifications. For instance, this particular account, I've been backing up my photos. I have not backed up the photos from my camera in a long time, so they didn't come onto my computer, so I didn't push them to Intronus. Intronus has been sending me emails for about 2 weeks now saying, hey, you haven't run a backup in a while. Do you have any new data? Because if you recall looking at this backup set, you can see that my photos is actually a manual backup because I didn't set it on a schedule. So Intronus, kind of reminds you to make sure that you're keeping on track with things. So, to give you a story that kind of illustrates this, there was a customer I had when I used to run my own MSP where I was doing a backup for them, where I was brought in to help them with backups. And what had happened is they had another guy set up their backup system, and I don't remember which one he used. He used another online backup software, and they were a bookkeeping organization. So, they basically held the accounting records for about 140 different companies. And, so if their information disappeared, then, someone was going to go to jail is really what would happen. Because a lot of these companies didn't have backups, so they didn't have up-to-date backups of those files locally. They just left them with the bookkeeping company and assumed they were taking care of it. So they brought me in because they had lost a file and they couldn't bring this other guy up on the phone. And so when I got in there, I took a look at their backup solution, and as it had turned out, the backup had not run in 8 months. No one had looked at it. No one had known. There was no issue. And I tell you, the business owner, she broke down. It was tough for her because thankfully the file that they had lost had not been a big deal. But if they had lost all of those files, it would have been horrible. And so this is something where Intronus really shines because it kind of tries to keep you in the loop compared to other backup sets. The one last piece I'll mention before I move on to another question is that Intronus has a lot of focus on compliance. So they are PCI compliant. They are also They also help you with HIPAA compliance. Their data centers are all SAS 70 compliant. They have armed guards on site, so the data is secure. And you can also secure your data to the point where you cannot access it without your password. So you set up a password on the agent, and you say, if I don't know this password, then I can't access the data, which means that no one at Intronis can get access to that data. So it's as safe as it's going to be in an off-site solution. Hopefully that helps you guys, give you some ammo to talk to customers about this. John, I'm not sure. Maybe you want to clear this up. I'm not sure I understood quite what you were asking with graphical files. As far as revisioning, I mean, you could set up a tool that maybe catches Photoshop files, which I'm forgetting the extension for at the moment. But you could set up a revision rule that catches Photoshop files and keeps those files for like 90 days or something, and keeps maybe three revisions for 90 days, or maybe you could even say like keep 50 revisions for 90 days or 30 days or something, and at the end of 30 days it'll compress them down into one revision. Which will be the last one. So that way, if they need to get access to something that they screwed up right away, they can go ahead and do that. Plus, you can also give customers access to this portal here. So like you see, this particular username, you could give them this particular username that lists their customers under, or lists their machines under that, so they could actually sign in and see their computers and execute restores on their own. So you could teach them, like if it's a graphics, art studio or something, you could potentially give them access to that. And you can brand this portal. There is a way to brand this so that it has your branding on it. And I believe the fee is $250. I could confirm that and get back to you on that. For the partner portal, you can definitely give login credentials to Live Virtual Help Desk. That's a great question, John. Live Virtual Help Desk or any other remote help desk, if you guys aren't using them, I know Live Virtual Help Desk will be able to do this if you let them know they are familiar with every product that we use. They should be able to execute restores to the customer's machines. Let's see what else. Roger, as far as backing up Exchange, does it delete the log files? I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It should. I'm not familiar enough with that.
Dan,
do we?
Because it used to, and something in my head tells me that there's something that changed in that. I thought I remember reading something, so we probably need to research that and get back with them. It used to delete the files, though, Roger. That was like a feature, but I don't know if it's the new plugin changed something, or we'll find out.
Gotcha. Jason, my understanding is that the local data vault would get encrypted and protected the same way that the remote data is as well. It's obviously if they can sit down in front of that computer, then they would be able to get access to the computer that actually backed the data up. They should be able to get access to it, but if they don't have access to that particular machine, or if they're trying to put the agent on a new machine, then they wouldn't be able to get that local data to show up without the passcode.
Yeah, I guess if it's encrypted and compressed before it gets pushed there, then it's all protected. If it's not copied.
The only place where it may not be protected right away is just in a temporary folder, but that data is all deleted after the backup's finished.
But I could see the question. I mean, if you were using like a round robin, or you were going to use the local backup and take it off site, you definitely would want that data encrypted. If you're going to throw it in a car or something and transport it. So that's definitely a good question.
Lewis, you can definitely seed backups. That's a great question. So if you're not, if you have like 400 gigs of data that you want to get up to the web instead of killing your internet connection for a week, you can overnight a hard drive to them, or you don't have to overnight it. You can just mail a hard drive to them, and they will, they'll put the data into the system and then send you your hard drive back. And also, obviously, if you need data restored, then they'll overnight a hard drive to you with the data if you don't necessarily want to download 400 gigs of data or however much it is. If it's a small amount, obviously, then the internet's faster, but sometimes you just you got to bite the bullet and get someone to mail you something. Hopefully that situation won't happen to you. This has been pretty good. If I missed any questions here, if I missed your question, feel free to ask it again. I'm trying to keep up with these. John, I'm not entirely sure I understand your question. How does the initial large backup work? You would copy that data to a hard drive and send it to them, I believe.
I think they have a special. There's a special. Like a bit almost that you call support, and they flip something, and instead of sending it out to the web, it sends it to a hard drive, and then you ship that off. It's not like part of the normal process. Because what John's thinking of is, look, hey, this is a file-based backup, and we're backing up directly from the machine directly to the web. How do we capture it? You're not going to send them the raw data. And so there is a way. It's something that you want to coordinate, with us and with support. And I believe what they do is they go in and do some magic thing that flips a bit. I think there's a hidden Easter egg someplace that you click on one of these menu options, and then you check a box, and then it actually backs it up locally.
There you go. Yes, it is a coordinated process that's done manually. Scott, to answer your question, it is possible to brand the portal that you're looking at right now. There is a price associated with that. And last I checked, it was about, what was it, Chris? $250?
I think that sounds right. I think that's right. We need to check with them. I've heard, we've done stuff at $500 before, but I think they've relaxed their standards a little bit, or their pricing model a little bit. They've gotten more efficient at doing it.
Okay.
So
the agent itself is called eSureIT. So you can put your logo and stuff in here, but typically it's not branded Intronis, and it's very difficult to see that it's actually branded as Intronis through the agent itself. So if you're concerned that the customer may see Intronis and try to go direct, they'd have to look pretty hard to figure out that it's actually an Intronis product.
And Intronis doesn't sell direct anyway, so
they won't do that. But yeah.
There's no pricing. There's nothing out there.
But if that fear exists, they've kind of unbranded the actual agent. So this is the agent that as it looks on their computer. So if you wanted to put your own stuff in there, you can. But if you're kind of if you're concerned about that for branding purposes, then they don't necessarily ever have to even see this web portal. But it's totally up to you.
We're set.
John, I'll go ahead and send the price sheet to you. As far as providing any kind of certification of compliance, we could coordinate with Intronis to give you guys something so that you could show that to your customers. Feel free to shoot me an email.
Like a SAS 70 kind of thing.
Yeah, the SAS 70 or PCI compliance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I thank you so much for taking the time to be on the call today. Hopefully it was helpful to you. I would appreciate feedback if you guys would like to send me an email and let me know what you think. Otherwise, we're excited to offer Intronis. I think these new features are just absolutely unbelievably incredible, which is why we're doing the webinar. We weren't planning to do one, and I was like, nope, this is really too cool. We got to do this. So hopefully it will help you in your business. Anyway, thank you very much for your time, and we'll talk soon.